interesting. So anyway, I don't know Jill Scott. I never met her. I know people that know Jill Scott because I know a lot of people in Philadelphia, and I've always felt that Jill was a smart lady and a really talented actress, a talented singer and actress, and I've always had a lot of respect for her, which I still do. That hasn't changed, that much. But I was really sort of trying to reflect on it because people were asking me what I think, and I was like, I don't really know if I can talk about this. I don't really know what to say at this point. Um, but I think my thoughts are kind of formulated, and I watched a video with Michi X from Fly Nubian Queen, and Michi had a pretty clear opinion on it. Michi kind of made it clear that she didn't think it was cool. She felt that what Jill did was a little bit hypocritical. That is sort of a hypocritical in the sense that Jill has been known to sort of speak up about legitimate, straight, serious problems in hip hop. Problems in hip hop in terms of you know um, in terms of how Black women are portrayed, right? There's a consistent discussion about whether or not Black women are portrayed in media as sex objects, right? And I think that the point can be made, if Black women are being portrayed as sex objects and we don't like that, then what does it mean when a Black woman portrays herself as a sex object? Does it mean that she's just a regular person who also, you know, gets nasty in the bedroom and she's letting everybody know? Or does it mean that she's okay with you, saying, okay, this is the thing I remember about you, like your most memorable moment that you've ever had in your career, the one that got everybody talking, the one that really, where you really took a stand, you really went out there and went on a limb, was a time when you took a microphone and and deep throated it and did a lot of things on it that I won't even repeat because even I'm blushing just kind of talking about it like that in public. I think on one hand there's the obvious argument that says, a lot of people do this, right? A lot of people do a lot of stuff in the bedroom, a lot of interesting things in the bedroom, and that's their business. And it's okay. It's not a big deal that she brought it up. And I can hear people saying that. I can understand that point of view. But I think at the same time, what happens the next time, you start seeing men, and in fact, actually already, Michi points out the fact that I'm really kind of going off of what Michi said and kind of giving a perspective that spins from that a little bit. Because I really was sort of like, I wonder what Black women, because I have daughters, so I'm real particular about telling a woman what is appropriate and what is not when it comes to her sexuality. And because I too, live in an era where, as a man, you're always told, stop judging, stop judging, stop judging. Let women do what they let them be free. But at the same time, so there's that feminist side, where, a feminist might say you're slut shaming if you even criticize her behavior. That's fine. But I think the problem with the feminist perspective is that, feminism says you should be able to do whatever you want and not be held accountable for it. And there's no responsibility for your behavior. And that if anybody who has a reaction to it, anybody who says, oh, so you like to suck dick, so that's what I know about you. I know that you are the woman who sucks dick very well. That people don't have the right to form their opinions about your behavior, right? And so you're saying that a person has the right to have a freedom that tramples on the freedoms of other people. Like I'm free to do whatever I want, but you're not free to evaluate me in the way that you see fit based on what you're seeing, from me, right? If I tell you, hey, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins, I am a financial guy. I'm a finance professor and I talk about wealth and money. And then me as the guy who talks about wealth and money on a regular basis, then I can't get offended and say, why would you ever think that I talk about wealth and money? That's offensive and that's discriminatory and you're putting me into a box. I think that would be kind of weird for me to do that. I mean, I might say, now I could say to you, I could say, yeah, I talk about wealth and money, but I talk about other things. So don't just define me to wealth and money. That's fair. But I still can't get mad at people when they say, oh, you're the money guy. You're the guy that because I talk about wealth and money and Black economic empowerment all the time. I'm the Black guy who talks about wealth, but I also talk about other things. So I've defined who I am. I've defined my brand, right? I've defined my brand. I've defined who I am to the public, who I want to be to the public. And so I think that the question becomes, can Jill Scott do something like this, right? And define herself to the public in a specific way. And then at any point become offended because people are like, yeah, you're a great singer. All the other stuff you did is really good. But shit, when you put that microphone down your throat, that got me going, girl. That really got me going. Like really, I mean, I think that's kind of what creates what could be defined as a little bit of some would say hypocrisy on the part of Jill, especially given that she has been one of the people who's been critical of the way hip hop has hypersexualized Black women, which I agree with. And but now it's sort of like, it almost reminds me of when what's her name? Was it Erykah Badu who did the dick challenge? Remember that, where she said she would ride to North Korea on a missile to get dick, and you're like old, you're literally like old enough to be somebody's grandmother, and you're telling the whole world how much you love dick, and that's fine. Dick is I assume lots of women love dick, and men, I guess some men do too. I don't know. I'm not judging, but it's like, we kind of believe some stuff is stuff that you keep to yourself, right? Some stuff, just for the sake of decency and dignity, you keep to yourself. Like if I go to the bathroom and I take a shit, everybody knows everybody shits. Everybody does. They have a book called Everybody Poops. But imagine if you're sitting in the kitchen and somebody comes out and says, ooh, I just took a big old greasy shit. I'm still walking bow-legged. Oh, and it felt so good. I got it. I was like, like what if somebody did that? You would be like, oh God, stop. Ooh, I don't want to hear about that. And then what if the person steps back and they say, oh, well, what do you mean? Everybody shits. Why are you acting like you too good to shit? Everybody shits. You know what? Why are you mad because I'm talking about it? Well, some people will be like, because that's private, man. Like that's between you and the toilet. Like you could be married to a person for 50 years and never sit and have to watch them shit, right? You can literally be with a person for 50 years and be like, I love you. I think you're wonderful. You're very attractive to me, but I do not want to be in the bathroom when you letting it rip. That's not a side of you I need to see. I don't need to see all of that, So I think it's like that with Jill Scott, and Jill just really laying it out there and doing her little porno on stage. Michi X makes a good point. Jill is 47 years old. She's a mother. 47 years old is old enough to be a grandparent, like a grandmother. She's not a grandmother, but she could be. In Chicago, we got great grandmothers that are 47 years old. Just seriously, we really do. It's insane. Does anybody want to see their grandma? Somebody at grandma's age on stage, a conscious artist. An artist that built, her career on, this very conscious music, this uplifting music, this empowering music, doing something that some would argue is degrading for women, not because she's admitting that she does what everybody does behind closed doors, but because she's letting that sort of be the thing that she let you know about her first. It's not, I'm a sophisticated woman, I'm a talented woman, I'm a thoughtful woman, I'm a capable woman, all these other things. None of that's like first. It's like, I will suck your dick better than a porn star. So now you're competing with the porn stars. Like you're not even competing with the porn stars. You're actually winning. There's no competition now. Cardi B does not, from what I understood, I've never seen Cardi B do something like that on stage. I've never seen Nicki Minaj do anything like that on stage. And, so now it's like, if I'm Cardi B and you come to me, anybody, the Jill Scotts and the Erykah Badus of the world, come to me and they say, girl, you are degrading the image of the Black woman around the world, I would look at them and say, wait a minute, Erykah Badu, weren't you the one who did the dick challenge? Like where you made a poem about that you spent all day putting together about how much you obsess over penis? Like that you are a sex object, that is all you think about, that you will literally kill, steal, do anything to get a penis. So when a man walks up and the first thing he offers you is a penis, he thinks he's doing you a favor. He ain't thinking sexual harassment. He's thinking, well, you just told me that that's all you want, that's all you dream about. So I'm just being nice to you. I'm giving you what you want, girl. Right? Same thing with Jill Scott. I think that certain behavior comes with, when you go into certain territory, you're creating certain expectations. And so you can't create those expectations and then get upset when people respond to that. Like I can't go around, showing, thighs, breasts, and wings, like they say, and then get mad because somebody shows up looking for a bucket of chicken. If you're advertising chicken, people will show up to your house to get chicken. They're going to see you as, KFC. Let me play some of what Michi said on this, and I want to get you guys take on this. If you're on YouTube, take 1 second, please, and please hit that thumbs up button. You know the drill. I love it when you guys. I appreciate you guys doing that. So just hit that thumbs up button. If you're on Facebook or anywhere else, please hit the like button, share button, and subscribe button, and all that stuff. Let's see. Jason says, but that's not all she advertised. Yeah, that's true. She advertised, but that's the part that's gonna get the attention. I tell you that much. So let me play this, and you guys can kind of hear what Michi has to say about it. Let me play this right now. Hold on.
But I do have a couple things that I want to say. So let me just get in here real quick for a few minutes. If you're not available to watch this live, you could come back and see the perspective of Black people. And as a woman who is a fan of Jill Scott's, but she kind of threw me for a motherfucking loop, and I'm going to tell y'all why, right? I'm all down with this. Okay, you can be a grown up, do what you want to do, and let the lady be grown, right? Okay, be grown. But I just want to say a couple things because I recall Jill Scott, right? I put it on my page. Somebody said I love the shirt. Thank you, right? Miss me with that bullshit. My boy Kenneth Green made this shirt just for me, you guys, and not festival, right? She said that hip hop music and the way that it degrades women, Black women. She might have used the word women of color. She might have said that. Y'all kill me with that shit too. Black women, right? That it's degrading to them, that it's dirty, it's inappropriate. And she had a problem with the way Black women are portrayed in hip hop music, right? Which is what? Black women being sexual objects and, Black women, out there looking like they just a piece of ass, okay? So what I do want to say is, because I've heard a lot of her fucking fans be like, you obviously don't know who the hell, Jill Scott is. You never been to her concerts because she does all kind of things on stage where she, is trying to be all sensual and sexual. Okay, well, that shit wasn't sexual. That shit was just ghetto to me, right? It was like watching a porn, because I swear to God, like they should have just had somebody run up there and really put a dick in her mouth, because it was so vivid that what I got to say is a lot of women who look at Jill Scott and rock with her are the same type of women who would be like, I don't watch Cardi B and I don't watch Nicki Minaj because they're ghetto and they're trifling and they're always on stage being so sexually, promiscuous in the ways that they twerk and shit. I want y'all to know that I have never seen Nicki Minaj, and I don't listen to them motherfuckers, and I've never seen, Cardi B. I've never seen them do some shit like that on stage, right? Their fucking twerking is nothing compared to the invisible dick that Jill Scott just sucked on stage, right? A lot of people.
So, so Michi in her own way, is kind of making a pretty powerful point, right? She's saying that, look, a lot of the Jill Scott fan base is built on people that love, talking down to the Cardi B types. They love talking down to the Nicki Minaj types. And now, what she did is pretty much, again, that's the space that Cardi B and Nicki Minaj wouldn't even go to. And I think that what it definitely says to me is that Jill Scott is great. She's an amazing artist, but she can be critiqued. People can step out and say, why'd you do that? Like, that's not cool. You didn't help our cause. And I know that, given that we're in this constant quest to kind of say, let's stop sexualizing Black women. Let's stop talking about them like sex is the most important thing in the world when it comes to Black women. That's what they do. That they're sex objects. I mean, we're saying these things, but at the same time, I mean, you just basically presented yourself as a sex object. And so but who knows? Maybe what redeems her though is the fact that, as somebody said, she's not just advertising sex. She's showing a lot of other stuff in addition to the sex, and that's not out of the question either. I think that's a valid argument. And who knows, maybe we're old fashioned by bringing this up. Maybe this is the time where everybody just gets out and just talks about what they do in the bedroom and it's no big deal. But I'm going to say that, I will say that if you are old fashioned in the sense of like, you want like regular relationships, you want men to want to, commit and get married and all that other stuff that people talk about, it doesn't really help when even the most conscious women are basically advertising how well they suck a penis. Um, there's something about it that cheapens. I think that it cheapens sexual interaction, especially in the eyes of, say, a young man. A young man, there was a time, think about this. There was a time, say, 30, 40 years ago, where a man would commit to a woman because he was hoping to get an opportunity to experience that side of her that nobody else gets to see, right? Things are more valuable when they are rare. They are more valuable when they are in scarce supply, right? They're more valuable when you feel like you're getting something that other people ain't getting. They become cheapened when they're available for everybody, you know. And so, I think about, you know, say the woman that I love, if she were on stage and showing the whole world what I thought was just special for me, it will probably affect how I viewed her a little bit, and or at the very least, it would make me say, well, I appreciate the fact that you're giving me access to this other side of you, but the whole world's had access to that. So show me something else, you know. And so I think that when you're talking about um, you know love and relationships and marriage and all this and men, and now we kind of criticize young black men because they don't want to settle down, don't want to get married. Part of it is honestly because a lot of the stuff that men used to have to work for, sacrifice for, invest for, sometimes even pay for, like, with a commitment or whatever. A lot of these things are free. They're cheap and free on the street. It's like okay, well, now everybody knows what Jill does in the bedroom. So, as a man, you're like, why should I commit here? I mean, I could just, there's nothing special being provided here that would make me want to give up the rest of my life and commit to just one person. When the girl next to you is going to try to compete with you by saying, no, 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 I suck dick better than her. Come to my house, right? Again, I'm not trying to say that it's not her right, right? It is her right to do whatever the hell she wants. Lord knows I ain't gonna tell Jill Scott what to do. But I think that she could be critiqued on this one. I think that people that are criticizing it kind of have a valid point. Um, maybe you can compare, oral sex on stage to like a man who just, let's say, think about men when men cry. Like imagine a big, strong, powerful man and he breaks down and he cries. Crying is okay. Every man cries at some point, but I don't know how women would feel about a man who cried all the time in public, who was always crying about everything. That kind of takes you into a space where, you showing emotion like that is not a big deal. Everybody sees it. Whereas I think that there's something that makes it valuable when you're not a person who does that and you kind of have a moment of vulnerability, and that makes a woman endeared to you. Whereas if you're always vulnerable, if you're always the little crying little guy, the guy that's always whining like a little bitch, I don't really know if women find that appealing. So I think that's probably what it is. Because I had to think about it. I was like, well, I guess everybody does it, this kind of thing. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people do. And I think that there's something to be said about being too sexually prude. Like I think if you're too restrictive sexually, you're gonna lose the person you're with. If you're gonna lose your man, you're gonna lose your woman. Seriously. If you got barriers and obstacles and you can't loosen up, just know, they might tell you that there's another reason why they're dumping you, but they're dumping you because they're not happy about the sex. All right. My father used to say that he believed that couples argue over money, kids, and sex. He said everything else may seem, it's like a tangent. It's like it may seem like you're arguing about, the chocolate chip cookies or about, the job or about the front yard, but really you're arguing about money, kids, or sex. Now, I don't know how, I got to think more about that theory, but I do think that there's something to that. And so I do think that, that there is space for adults to have honest conversations with other adults about sex, the importance of sex in a relationship. I think that a lot of young black girls, they can lose out. Like if they have, like, let's say their mom is, a lot of black families do this. Like we act like sex doesn't exist. We just like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And so some girls may grow up having a mother that just acts like she's a virgin, like she doesn't, like sex, don't even talk about it. And then she gets in a relationship and she's disappointed because her man actually wants good sex and he leaves her for somebody else who does provide him with sexual um, satisfaction, right? So you don't ever, I don't think you should never underestimate the value and the importance of sex in a relationship. And so maybe there's space for sexual honesty, but I think that from Jill Scott, I think there's probably a better way she could have shown that, right? She could have just been like, hey, ladies, when you get your man at home, make sure you give him what he wants, give him what he needs. Like she could have done a million things that insinuated all of this that would have been 100 times classier than her literally just laying it out there and whatever. And now let me see. Humboldt Solomon Johnson says Tiffany Haddish did the same thing in Girls Trip, and look what it did for her career. Oh, interesting, interesting. That's deep. I didn't know that. And I'm trying to think. Jill Scott wasn't in Girls Trip, was she? It was Jada and Latifah and Tiffany. Yeah, I mean, I think that's. I mean, it's like, ha, that's funny. Look at her pretending to, give head. But I don't really know if that wins for you. That's the thing. I don't know. This is me. I guess I'm putting on my dad hat. I need to get a dad hat because I already know what I put on my black finance professor hat. I put this on, right? This is my black finance professor hat. See, it says black finance professor. I need to get like a fatherly advice hat because truth be told, like I think a lot of girls that don't have fathers at home, they lose because they get confused about the game. Like they see Instagram girls, showing ass and showing how they can swallow a banana, and those girls get all the attention. Like if you're ever looking for more Instagram followers, I mean, doing what Jill Scott did or the cucumber challenge on your Instagram will get you 10,000 men following you tomorrow. They will follow you all the way home, right? That's what it is. But I think that there's a problem where a lot of the young girls don't know the difference between quality attention and low quality attention, right? Like if I say tomorrow, look, I'm gonna give away $1,000 a piece to everybody who comes to my house, I would have 100 people lined up outside my door waiting on that money. But does that mean these people really care about me? No. Does that mean these people are going to give me something that adds value to my life? No. Does that mean these people are going to be dedicated to me on any level after I give them that $1,000? No. Right? Does that mean that I can depend on these people to really be there for me when I need somebody to come through for me? Probably not. Most of them no. Right? So all attention ain't good attention. And what I've had, when young ladies ask me relationship questions, I talked to a friend not too long ago. She's about 31 years old, and she had a breakup with her boyfriend. She asked me about it, and I gave her my take. I was like, oh, actually, what he was saying was probably this, and this happened this way, and what I think was going on was this, and this. And I told her to go read some books. There's a professor, Dr. Barbara DeAngelis, who writes books about the minds of women, so men can read them to understand how women think. And she writes books about the minds of men, and tells women to read these books to understand how men think. So you can just know what you're getting into. And so I think that a lot of times, we just never learn that distinction. So when you see some chick on Instagram who's got 1 million men following her because she's showing her ass in every other picture, nobody can tell her that she can't do that. But that's not really a person who's gonna necessarily find her husband in the middle of all these horny ass men who are showing up with hard dicks. Like that's not the same as men who know that they have to come to you with a certain level of respect in order to have access to the best that you got. It's really clear, like where I think men separate in the sense of like what is cheap and what is expensive. So it's almost like you go into a store. If you go into Walmart, you expect that you can buy you an outfit for $20, right? You ain't gonna pay much for Walmart because Walmart's cheap. The stuff is cheap and abundant, easy to buy, easy to get, right? But if you go into Bloomingdale's or some shit, you kind of know if you get a pair of pants, you're gonna pay $200-300 for these pants. You're gonna pay for what you get out of there because Bloomingdale's has positioned itself and branded itself as a place of high quality, and that you can't even come in here and look. You can't even act like you're gonna buy nothing unless you're ready to drop some serious money, right? I think that sexuality can be the same way when it comes to women. There are some women who brand themselves as very, very cheap, very abundant. They brand themselves as the Walmarts of sexuality. Like, come here, come and get it. It's gonna be cheap and easy, no strings attached. You can get what you want. It's gonna be better than any place you've ever been. You're gonna love it. And then there's some women who brand themselves as a Bloomingdale's, who are like, yeah, we're gonna have the same. Walmart's got pants, we've got pants, but our pants are higher quality. Yeah, Walmart's got suits, we got suits too, but our stuff is higher quality, and you're gonna pay a higher price. You're gonna have to, if you come up in here and you want some, you better, if you want some from me, you're gonna get the same, the same everything Jill Scott just did on stage and just advertised to the world. I might have that for you, I might not. You'll never know unless you come correct enough and have shown me enough to show me that you're worthy of me giving you the best that I got. Right? I'm not going to advertise it to you. I'm certainly not going to let you have no easy samples. You're going to have to work for this. And what happens is with men, I told my daughters, I said, honestly, there's a part of men that is a little bit like a dog. You train a dog a little bit. Like, you got to train people how to treat you, male and female, not even just for men. You got to train people, show people how to treat you. You got to show them this is, you ain't in Walmart now, that you in Bloomingdale's. And we know in Bloomingdale's, we understand that we're going to lose a lot of customers because of our prices. We already know that if 1,000 people walk past, 950 of them are going to go to Walmart, and only 50 of them are going to stay around and come to Bloomingdale's. And that's okay. We like it like that. We like it when the crowd is thin. We don't want 1,000 rednecks and hillbillies and toothless white people, with dirty, poor white trash in our stores. Like, we don't want that in our store. We want quality. We want people here that understand that to get access to this product, you're going to have to make an investment that is substantial and significant. If you're not prepared to do that, that's okay. Walmart is down the street. We ain't hating on Walmart. We're not jealous of Walmart. We're not going to imitate Walmart. We just want you to understand what you're dealing with so you'll know where you need to go, right? And what you see sometimes is that if you don't understand the game, you see, Bloomingdale's caliber women trying to compete with the Walmart ass chicks on Instagram. They trying to compete. They seeing what they're doing. They're like, oh gosh, look at all that attention they're getting. Look at all these men that are following. Look at all this adoration they appear to be getting. And they don't understand that when you're Bloomingdale's and you're looking at Walmart, yeah, Walmart has 1,000 more customers than you, but they're all coming in there for the $20 outfit. Like, they're not going to come. This person who's going to Walmart, you could steal all of Walmart's customers, and they're not going to show up at your store and offer you, $200 for a pair of pants like you expect. They're going to offer you $20, just like they offered Walmart. And if you don't give them the $20 pants, they're going to say, well, I can just go down to Walmart and get it cheaper. And you got to be willing to let them go. You got to be okay. Like, okay, no problem. This is not the place for you. And that's hard to do. I have to do that. Even when I'm talking online, I'll never have as many people that follow or pay attention to what I'm saying, as I would if I was 2 Chainz or, Tekashi 6ix9ine or some rapper that was just spitting some ignorant shit. Like, I'll never get as much attention as an ignorant, ridiculous, cooning ass Negro. But that's okay. What I just tell people is, if you have a problem with my delivery, if you have a problem with Black intelligence, this ain't the place for you. You should go somewhere else, because we're curating high quality interactions that are going to elevate the condition of the people. They're going to elevate the thinking of the people. But if you want some more nigga shit, then fine. There's plenty of nigga channels that you can go to that will make you happy, right? So I think that with Jill Scott doing this, I think that what disappoints people is that people don't see her as a Walmart ass woman. People don't see her as cheap. And so when you see, a store that has high quality products, Brooks Brothers and Walmart or whatever it is, not Walmart, sorry, Brooks Brothers or Bloomingdale's or Macy's, and they suddenly are like, oh, we got $20 pants just like Walmart. You're kind of like, man, like, well, then why should I spend a high price for anything you have? Since you've now degraded yourself to be a competitor with Walmart, then we're going to expect you to be like Walmart in every single way. We're not going to make the same commitment to you and to your product that we would have made before, because you pretty much just told us that your product is cheap. So that's what I think kind of happens that doesn't work in the favor of women, honestly, because more women that I know, they tend to want, lasting commitments. They don't necessarily always just want the cheap sex. They now mind you, what people want behind closed doors is sometimes different from what they'll say they want in public. But when I would talk to my female friends and I say, what are you looking for in a man? They rarely say, I just want some cheap dick that's going to just disappear tomorrow. Right. Whereas men, when I talk to men about what they want, they say, yeah, I am looking for the one, but they're looking for different things. They're not necessarily looking for the same thing women are looking for. So I think that again, I wouldn't judge what somebody should be wanting from men or wanting from women. It's like if I'm a man and all I want are a bunch of cheap women who are just going to chase me for my money, then yeah, I would advertise how much money I have. I'd be like, hey girl, look at the bands I got in my bank account. I'd be driving around in a Bentley or Benz, being flashy, wearing, gold watches and whatever to show you how much money I have to attract women. And the thing is, I'm going to attract a bunch of gold diggers. I'm going to attract a bunch of women who just want the money, right? But instead, most men I know that really have a lot of money that are smart, they don't flash a lot of money because they don't want to attract low quality women who are just looking for the money. But when they attract the right woman who shows that she has the qualities that he wants in his life, then he'll make it rain on her all day long. He'll take good care of her financially and give her whatever she wants because she's proven herself to be a person who's worthy of this thing that he doesn't advertise to everybody else. He doesn't let everybody have access to. So I think that's what it is. I think that, her doing this just kind of is like, okay, well, there's nothing sacred about you sexually anymore. I mean, you kind of just, put it out there. You pretty much done what a porn star does. So there's no difference, right now between you and a porn star. Is that really what you want? Is that the Jill Scott? Is that the Jill Scott that you want people to see? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a little bit more of Michi's video so you can kind of hear Michi's perspective, because I think it's more important to hear a woman's perspective on this than just hearing a man yap along. Because I don't want to be judgmental. I'm not going to judge. In fact, I believe, just to make it clear, I believe she can do whatever the fuck she wants. I'm not going to tell her she can't do it. I'm not going to say, oh, what's wrong with you? You're a disgrace. I'm just going to say that we have to be careful about sending mixed messages. I think that's the idea. So let's
right. I thought it was very degrading for somebody to say that she is the queen. I have looked at her in a way that she is a woman. Yes, her songs are very sexual, but at the end of the day, it's not the same thing as giving a microphone imaginary head. I mean, she went all in, y'all. Y'all didn't see the video? She was groping balls. She was spitting on it. She was acting like it came in her face, and then she licked the cum off her fingers that she wiped off her face. That was a bit much, right? That was a bit doing too much. And other people could say that I'm mad, but let me give you some examples, you guys, as Black people, and how it is just played into the scenario of as Black women, as any woman, right? But as Black women, if we want to be respected and we want to not be degraded, we need to learn to respect ourselves, right? And there are some things that you should not show every motherfucking body, right? Especially when you're 47 years old and you have children that can see that shit. But let me compare what Jill Scott did to a couple of things that as Black people, we're quick to talk down on them, right? So most people will look at Jill Scott like she's a beautiful, educated, classy woman or whatever, right? But when we had that cucumber challenge going on and there were young girls, a lot of Black girls running around here making videos of them sucking cucumbers and sticking them down their throat to show you how deep their throat was, how did we react to those videos? We said that was some ghetto shit, that was trifling, that girls shouldn't be on fucking internet sucking on cucumbers like they're giving head to a man, right? Isn't that what we said about that shit? But yet and still, when Jill Scott does it, it's okay, right? Jill Scott is a woman that has been in many movies, right? Jill Scott is a woman who has made many albums, and we know her for a lot of stuff. But I want you to know that after yesterday, when all of that shit went viral, she will be known as the woman who can give some great head. Is that what a sister wants to be remembered for? Is that what she wants her viral moment to be? That's all I'm saying. Because let me give you an example, right? Since that went viral, there are fucking memes everywhere about Jill Scott, right? About how well she could suck dick, about how people want to dress up like microphones, talk about I'm on my way to her house. Yes, men loved it. Men did love it, right? There are men who also have up a thing saying this is why Black men, or not Black men, some Black men put it up there, and it was a meme where he said, and now y'all realize why we like BBWs. So what I got from that subconsciously is fat chicks can suck dick, so that's why we like fat girls. Like, that's what that just portrayed. Like, It shouldn't matter if a woman is a BBW or not. Like, a mouth is a mouth. What does that have to do with anything? So now we're going to use that video and we're going to talk about how that's why men like BBWs. Why? Because they can give head. I have heard people compare her to Superhead. Do y'all know who Superhead is? Superhead is the woman who give everybody head that was in the motherfucking music industry. She wrote a book about all the head she gave, about all the sexual endeavors that she had with everybody in the goddamn hip hop industry and all the superstars. So we went from being Jill Scott, a woman that we really respected in a certain manner, and they're comparing her to Superhead. Is that really what you want for yourself, sister? Is that really what Jill Scott wants? I'm like, for me, I just feel like that's what's wrong with us this day and age. And no, I'm not in church and I'm not going to wrap my head and I'm not saying that women have to be so conservative, but god damn, can we keep anything in the bedroom? Do we have to show everybody everything? Like, I don't even have a penis, but I feel like watching her, I felt like I got head watching that shit. Like, I got my dick sucked yesterday, y'all, watching that video. I mean, that's how graphic.
Yeah, that's Michi X from Fly Nubian Queen. If she actually comes on every night on FlyNubianQueenTV.com. So somebody typed it in, FlyNubianQueenTV.com. I think it's important to kind of hear what sisters have to say. And I like Fly Nubian Queen because they talk about things that are politically incorrect and they talk about them from a purely Black perspective. But anyway, I think that's something to be said. I think that she's making a good point. I think, Jill Scott has the right to do what she's going to do, but I think she also people have the right to criticize. People have the right to come back and kind of say, like, what are you doing? Like this is not helping us in this process. It almost could be seen as a female version of cooning, where you are catering to your oppressors, which in this case for women, men can be very oppressive. So you're catering to them to gain favor with them. And you're undermining, in the process, you're kind of undermining the integrity of everything you allegedly stand for. So really, you could say this is almost like a type of cooning, So I think that there's nothing about what Jill Scott did that most grown people haven't seen before. There's nothing about what Jill Scott did that's outside of her rights. There's nothing that she did that I think that makes her a bad person. But I think that there is something about what she did that is in complete contradiction to everything that she claims to stand for. And it's also, and maybe this is her Whitney Houston moment, because remember, Whitney Houston for a long time pretended to be something that she wasn't. She got kind of trapped in the good girl image. She was always trying to be the good girl. So people were like, well, why are you dating Bobby Brown? Why are you acting out like this? Well, because that was who Whitney was all the time. And she just wanted the world to know who she was. So in that regard, I almost congratulate Jill. I mean, I think Jill actually has made references to being pretty heavy when it came to sex. Like, I'm just saying, like, kind of out there. I'll just say that much. So maybe this is Jill saying, look, this is Jill Scott. This is who I am. You come to my house and I like you, then this is what it's going to look like. And it is what it is. And if that's the case, then maybe that means in your mind, you got to take Jill out of a specific category, like take her out of this area that you put her in. It's almost like Barack Obama. A lot of people felt like Barack Obama disappointed them, but then you also had to acknowledge the fact that really, if you really paid attention, Barack didn't actually make any promises. He didn't actually tell you what he was. He let you figure out what you think Barack Obama was. So when he was something different from what you thought he was, you got disappointed. So the same thing might be true with Jill. Maybe Jill's like, hey, you thought I was conscious. You thought I was somebody who's, going to have certain standards when it comes to women, but you got me all fucked up. Like, I'm not that person. I'm somebody else. If you want that righteous stuff, you need to go to somebody. Go to the person down the street, because I'm pretty much Little Kim, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, whatever, right? So that's kind of it. Let me see. Somebody says female fans are saying Jill Scott has been sexual like this. Well, then that's it. Maybe that's her coming out party, right? That's her saying, look, I'm sexual. I've always been sexual. I've always had people come on my face on stage or pretended like whatever. And that's what I do. Like, that's fine. I mean, that's fine. Again, like Willie D said, let a hoe be a hoe. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all remember that? Like it's like, okay, if that's who Jill is and she's always been like that, then the word is out now. Nobody's going to get it confused or misconstrued. So maybe the disappointment is something that is just kind of like, it's your issue to deal with, not hers, right? But I think at the same time, um, I think that if Jill then steps out and says, I want to be a role model for little girls, and people say, well, you're not the best role model. You're not the person I really want my little girls kind of looking up to in terms of how we feel a lady should conduct herself, in public, especially when she's a mom or grandmother and all that stuff, or grandmother age. Then don't get offended. Like, don't feel like, oh, you're slut shaming her, or oh, you are, or you're being unfair to her and not allowing her or disrespecting her as a woman. Because some people would make the argument that she might have disrespected herself, and that part is the part that we don't want to deal with. Like, we can easily talk about, times where, when a man, I mean, everybody wants to blame men for everything. Like we're just kind of the scum of the earth in the eyes of some people. And I agree, a man can disrespect a woman, but we must also agree that sometimes a woman can disrespect herself, just like a man can disrespect himself, right? In fact, I did a poll. We did a poll on Your Black World TV, on this, and I asked, I said, Jill Scott just simulated fellatio in a very clear way on stage this week. What do you think about it? And basically 53% of the people, of the respondents, said it wasn't a problem. 29% said it was a problem. 3% said they're not sure. So that's out of just 400 people that have responded to the poll so far. But I'll let you guys know what the final poll results are. So it looks like a lot of people, they don't have an issue with Jill Scott, and I think that's cool. And I think everybody has a right to have, an opinion that they stand with. I don't even know if there's a right answer to this. All I know is that for anybody who's looking at this and kind of saying like, okay, because I noticed that a lot of people will get their cues from people they look up to. Like, I've seen a lot of Black women get their cues on behavior toward men. They get their cues from watching women that they admire, right? So they'll say, okay, well, Jill Scott's sucking dick on stage and showing how good she gets head. Maybe I should do the same thing. Maybe that will make people like me too, right? And what I would just say is that when you're picking your strategy, pick it based on whether or not it gives you what you want, right? And learn how men think so that you can know how certain behavior is going to be interpreted by men. You can get mad about it, but men still have rights. And we may act like men don't have any rights to believe what they want to believe or do what they want to do, but men have a lot of rights, just like women have rights. And so, when you are that person who presents yourself in a specific way and draws a man's attention in a specific way, you're going to keep his attention in that specific way, and he's going to kind of expect you to deliver, in that specific way. That's going to be his focal point. That's where the conversation begins and ends. It's like, and really the problem with that, just given me coaching ladies on this, is that when you're showing a man how well you give head before he really gets to know anything else about you, what you're doing, it's almost like serving somebody dessert before you give them dinner. After they eat, today she made me a really good dinner, and then she had some chocolate chip cookies, and she was like, oh, try these cookies. And I was like, I don't want to eat these cookies, because if I eat these cookies, I'm not going to want to eat dinner. I'm not going to want the healthy food after I've just had the sugar, right? So basically, there, some people believe that there should be a process, a hierarchy, right? And if you're the person that's always serving the dessert before you serve the dinner, don't get mad that the man showed up and got the dessert and didn't stay for the main course. He didn't stay for the vegetables. He's like, well, fuck some green beans. I'm gonna go get some more chocolate cake. Every woman in this building is serving chocolate cake because they're all competing with it to get my attention. So I'm just gonna become a little fat kid, because I'm just gonna go from building to building, from apartment to apartment, getting as much chocolate cake as I can get. That's what you kind of create when you don't set a standard in the beginning. And that's under the assumption that you want a lasting relationship. Now, if you just want quick, dirty, cheap sex, then shit, all bets are off. Like pull out your microphone and, start making your Instagram videos. Like, you'll get all kinds of attention. You'll have a ton of men lined up outside your door. You'll never be short on male company. But if you are looking for lasting relationships, there must be a hierarchy in that process. There must be a sequentiality, if you will. There must be an order to which things occur. And if you deviate from that, then you could be creating a situation where you're going to get something other than what you want, and that's it. That's just me being honest and real. It's not me judging anybody. I think everybody should do whatever the fuck you want to do, as long as you ain't hurt nobody and as long as you're getting what you want. But I see a lot of people who are not getting what they want, who who are like running around saying, oh, why do these men do this? Or why is it that, blah, blah, blah happens and men don't want to get married? Why is it that men don't blah, blah, blah? Men, so if you're running complaining about men not giving you what you want, that probably means that your strategy might need to be adjusted. That's what I'm saying. But if you're happy, like if you're like, yeah, I don't want marriage or anything. I just want men that are just going to show up and, let me suck their dicks. Like then and you're happy with that, like that's your life, then do you. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to tell you that you're a bad person because you're happy. If you're happy, then you win. But if you're not happy and not getting what you want, then that probably means that your strategy has to be adjusted. And also, I'm going to just tell you the honest to God truth. I really believe a lot of women are getting really bad advice when it comes to men. I just think the advice is from the feminists is do whatever you want, suck a dick on stage, and men don't have a right to judge you. And then if they do judge you because of it, then they're bastards. Men are assholes. Men are bastards. Everything men want is stupid, and men are just dummies, and they don't understand you, and they're jerks. Like that's not going to get you what you want. I think that what gets you what you want is knowing that, number one, that whatever you do, as a man or a woman, people are going to judge that. People are going to evaluate that. And number two, rather than just saying that men getting what they want or doing things that work for them, that it's because they're bastards. I don't think that is the solution. I think understanding like how they think, why they want certain things in a certain way, or why is it that there could be two women, equally pretty, and one woman is the one who he adores and wants to marry, and the other woman is the one where he shows up and offers her cheap penis. Like why? How can that differential occur? What's going on there, right? And it's not just a roll of the dice. It's because each woman has a different, process in terms of how she engages men. Like I'll give you a good example. Vicki Dillard, who's actually in here right now. Vicki Dillard on Fly Nubian Queen TV. Lots of men come into her live streams because they adore her. They think she's not just smart and amazing to watch, or but she's very pretty and very, and they're falling in love with her. Like they're like, hey, Queen, I love you, Queen. You're so beautiful, Queen. Right? You see that? You see the same. You see that adoration coming from men that are just like, I just want to come in here and see Vicki Dillard because that's brightens my day, right? And at the same time, I see other women who do things online where they also draw in male attention. They bring in nothing but all these men lining up to watch their YouTube videos or whatever, but the men are on a different agenda. The men are there thinking about sex, and that's it, and so it's like a different kind of energy. It's still male attention, but it's very different energy that you're receiving from the men based on how you present yourself and what you're willing to tolerate. Remember, you teach people how to treat you. You really do. If you set the standard low, then a lot of people will go low. I told a young lady not too long ago, I said, I don't really even know if there's really such a thing as a good man and a bad man. Everybody talks about, oh, he's a good man, oh, he's a bad man. I said, really, if you look at the range of a man's behavior throughout his life, he's been both. He's been a great man for maybe some women. He's been a horrible man for others, right? There's been times where a woman will say, oh my God, he's so amazing. He's so wonderful. He'll do anything for me. Then there's another one who's like, oh, he ain't shit. He's disrespectful. He's, I'll be up in a minute. He's evil. He ignores me. He mistreats me, blah, blah, blah. How can that happen? How can the same man be a dream come true for one woman, but a living nightmare for the other? Well, I told her, I said, it's for the same reason that, that there have been stores you probably walked into where you weren't willing to spend more than $5. If they'd charged you $6, you'd walk out. You'd be like, that's too much. I'm not spending, and they would say, oh my God, she's so cheap. Like, why would you're only spending $6? We only asked for $6. $6 ain't no big deal. But then I said, but at the same time, think about it. There's been stores you walked into as well where you were ready to drop $500, right? And so basically, you're not an extravagant person all the time. You're not a cheap person all the time. It really comes down to the situation that you're in and what your expectations are based on that particular situation, how you're reacting to what's being presented to you. So again, the Walmart Bloomingdale's analogy, when people walk into Walmart, they're not expecting to spend a lot of money. Walmart could charge 1/10 of the price for a pair of shoes that Bloomingdale's charges, and that price might be too high for Walmart, but it might be too low for Bloomingdale's. It might be the greatest deal in the world at Bloomingdale's. You see, so that's pretty much what you're seeing. You see differentials in behavior, and where does it start? Well, it starts with Jill Scott type stuff. I mean, it starts with you know, what you're presenting to the world. Like again, Vicky, I'm not throwing you out there, but I can't imagine Vicky doing something that like what Jill Scott did. I can't even imagine her thinking about doing something like that in public. Like that would just be something that would probably be like the worst experience in her life, right? Like she wouldn't even consider it, wouldn't even go, you know. And so you got to ask, like, why is that? Why is that? Right? It's all about what we used to call this in finance. We call that signaling. Everything you do signals to another person who you are and what you're all about, what you're down with, what you're not down with, what you'll accept, what you won't accept, what you want, what you don't want, and who you are. So never ever think that people aren't going to evaluate you as a human being based on the behavior that they see coming from you. First impressions are everything, and you don't want your first impression to be what Jill Scott was doing on stage, unless that's what you all about. So that's it. I'm done. Have a good night, guys. Do me a favor. Please hit the Vicky screaming. No, I agree with you. I figured that's what you would say. To hit that thumbs up button if you're on YouTube. Also, if you'd like to join our League of Intelligent Black People, please go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. It's our private group where you can join and get all kinds of free perks and stuff like that as a result of your membership. Our goal is to spread Black intelligence all throughout the diaspora, all throughout the world. We want to make intelligence cool again. And that's what we want to advertise. We're not going to advertise. We're not advertising, nasty stuff. We're trying to get people to think on a different level and use all your chakras and not just the ones that are below the waist. So anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon. And take care. Peace.